Right, you guys, make sure you like this video and subscribe to Mike's, okay? Make sure. If you don't subscribe to Mike, you're gonna have a fat forehead and a big hairline.
Boom, I'm with the guy Max inside. Subscribe to him, make sure you do still. Best content coming out. You know how it is.
Hello and welcome back to another video, people. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Make sure you're smashing the likes and subscribing if you are new. And today we are doing how Graham Potter will set up West Ham United next season, because I've given up on the signings front. I've given up on when it comes to West Ham United getting new transfers that actually need to be addressed, and that we actually need to, go ahead and just upgrade our squad, address priority positions, address outgoings. West Ham aren't going to do any of those things. So I've kind of accepted where we are right now. I've accepted where the squad is, and I've accepted our downfall. But how will Graham Potter set West Ham next season, and will it be successful, but also will it be enough to keep him in the job? Now, I've gone to the lineup builder app, and this is basically how I feel due to preseason, due to Potter's normal team selection. This would usually be the lineup on what he would pick. Areola in goal, he's only goalkeeper. Wan-Bissaka, Todibo, Kilman again, Diouf, Souček, Ward-Prowse, Paquetá, Tarbo, and Fulkrug. Now, 5-3-2 slash, 3-4-2-1 sort of thing. Paquetá playing here, more so Bowen playing these areas, more so Wan-Bissaka and Diouf probably getting high up the pitch. Again, and Todibo splitting as the three, etc. Ward-Prowse and Souček struggling to pass the ball forward in these areas. That's how it would probably usually go. Now, here's my problem. I have a big problem with this, because first of all, as I've addressed in the past few live streams and videos, I don't believe 5 defenders, for example, is going to give us any form of course of actually scoring any goals and creating any goals. And I think we're going to be heavily reliant once again on Jarrod Bowen. Yes, Bowen alone is enough to probably keep us up, to be honest with you, but it's very dangerous to rely on one person, because what if Bowen gets injured? Because then we are finished. The reason why I have a problem with this as well is because I'm not seeing enough versatility in Potter's tactics as much as I would have hoped to be as well, especially in possession, playing around with players' positions, the in-game adjustments like we saw like against Fulham, for example, which I was really impressed. If we play more like how we did against Fulham when we beat them 3-2 last season, I'd be happy somewhat going into next season. But when I mean happy somewhat, I mean it's still going to be an average season going into mid-table and stuff like that as well. But that this is kind of why I'm expecting overall. But obviously, Paquetá roaming around in these positions. The problem is as well, there's no ball progression in the defensive midfielders. I think Potts should probably start alongside Souček. If not, then Paquetá. We have Guilherme, Bowen, Fulkrug maybe, or we don't really have another number 10 sort of player. So yes, I guess Potts here, then Paquetá, Bowen here. I would rather, funny enough, Paquetá and Potts as the deeper areas, because we make ourselves a lot better possession-wise, or if we can find a way to make a Paquetá, Potts, Souček midfield work, where Souček is not necessarily getting involved in the build-up play, just making late runs into the box, and then Paquetá and Potts dictate the play. That would be ideal with the players that we have right now. I'm specifically looking at the players we have right now. That's what I'm specifically looking at. I'm specifically looking at how is Potter going to set up with the current players we have, because we're not going to do much else in the transfer window. I'm kind of sick and tired of talking about West Ham being interested, or West Ham vaguely being interested in players, etc. It is quite jarring. It is quite jarring, to be completely honest with you. But that is what West Ham United are in 2025. Now, let's go back to us being in possession. Now, when we have the ball, when we play out the back, which we are not good at doing, the ball is usually passed around these areas. Kilman, usually the guy, or Todibo, usually the guy that's the only one that can either drive forward or break a forward pass. This is very inspired, by the way, by the Manchester United game. It seems that we're trying this a lot with, the reason why Gerd is probably going to be a key figure, which I don't think he's good enough, but the reason why I think Potter will see him as a key figure is because they're relying a lot on that diagonal ball to Jarrod Bowen, switching the play, seeing the space, and switching that ball so we can try and break from these sort of spaces, sort of thing. So probably end up like this, roughly. It's going to look all cool kinds of disproportionate, because we're relying on width from the wing backs, but there's no wingers at wing back. So You're kind of relying on Diouf for attacking intent at that point. But Kilman and Tadibo are the only one that can really break the lines. As we saw even for the goal that we scored against Manchester United, that all started from Tadibo breaking the lines, as we see over here, sort of thing. But here's the problem. Again, it's usually a flat 5. But usually, when we have the ball around these areas again, sometimes Tadibo, for example, let me move Souček and Ward-Prowse a bit higher. Tadibo is someone that, because he's in the wide areas and because there's no option in the midfield, because none of our midfielders like to go and receive the ball, Tadibo will go a lot here. And then Wan-Bissaka will step back because Tadibos made the run forward. And then Wan-Bissaka will be like, well, I've got no one else to pass it to, so let me pass it backwards. I don't like this. The reason why I don't like this is because the wing-backs, if you're going to have your centre-backs drive up, the wing-backs need to be higher. The wing-backs are never high up the pitch for us. Like when we're in these sort of possession areas. Realistically, if you're going to play a 3 at the back properly, or a 3 in possession properly, which, by the way, every single team in the Premier League plays a 3-2-5 in possession. Like every single team. They just have their own way of doing it. And the problem is, you need your wing-backs to be high. So if you're going to drive with the ball, there needs to be an option here. But also needs to be an option here for you to get through to one of these players. The problem is, Souček only passes forward in space when he takes too many touches anyway. Ward-Prowse will take too long to make a decision. Alvarez will probably run into a player, kick him. Like we've got a big problem when it comes to ball progression. We don't know how to unlock players, which is why I want Paquetá here, because he's the only one that can actually pass forward. The only one that actually tries to pass forward. If it was up to me as well, I would have Kilman over here, Tadibo here. Ignore and pretend Eged is Guilherme. Let's pretend Eged's Guilherme. I would rather Guilherme on one of the wing-back positions because I want one fullback and one winger. Because Diouf is an attacking fullback. Wan-Bissaka is more of a defensive fullback. Tadibo's better in central areas when it comes to playing in defense and when it comes to wide. He's good at defending wide areas, but in terms of just his general game, he's more suited to playing here. Kilman's more suited to playing here than the middle. Guilherme will give you an extra edge on the wing-back role. And Wan-Bissaka is already good defensively. And a lot of the times anyway, when Potter, you would usually play his, like, for example, his Brighton system, where the wing-backs aren't necessarily tucking in anyway. They're not meant to in this system. It's more so the midfield's tucking in here. And so they can, like, block out all the areas in defense. So Guilherme wouldn't have to do all of this all the time unless he's been taken on 1v1. Diouf will, because he's naturally a defender. So sometimes it's going to be a 4 anyway. But what I would really like about Guilherme doing this is that it allows Guilherme and Bowen to have a relationship. It allows Paquetá to have a relationship with the left wing back. Also, it can turn into a 4 at times where Wan-Bissaka's slightly up the field. So you can basically have it like this, so you can have somewhat of protection. But the problem is here, you need defensive midfielders that are going to be able to defend the counter-attacks and defend wide areas. We don't have that. We don't have natural, decent ball winners. We haven't had one since Declan Rice left. And I don't think we're going to leak in defense, to be fair. I don't actually think we're going to leak in defense because how we set up off the ball is actually really good. So let's go back to how West Ham would usually set up off the ball anyway. This is probably one of the few good things about West Ham right now, is that we're not hard to beat because we've got stupid people, but we would usually set up off the ball in a 5-3-2 roughly like this. The problem is there's no natural ball winners, so we're quite weak physically in midfield due to Ward-Prowse usually playing here. Fulkrug and Bowen, they help out cut off the areas at times. Sometimes Bowen will track over here, etc. But it allows Bowen to not do as much tracking back because that's not his forte. But when we set up like this, it's very difficult to beat, to be fair. It's very, very difficult to beat. That not many teams are scoring goals like that. Naturally, unless we're making a mistake. Usually the mistakes would come from Areola. And the thing is, again, back to being in possession and stuff as well. When we're trying to set up and try to progress with the ball, Areola would usually give away the ball. As we saw with the Man United game, the Bruno Fernandes second goal, the ball's already been lost in midfield because Potter wants the goalkeeper to play out. Potter wants the goalkeeper to play out and West Ham to play out, but you need the players to do that. So he's going to have to adjust to his players. And if he's not willing to adjust to his players, then he's kind of fucked and we're kind of fucked in general. But the reason why this is never going to work in terms of West Ham will never have any form of ambition is because Potter is like every other manager, is not going to completely adjust his terms for the players there. And West Ham don't have good enough players anyway to be challenging for any form of Europe. We don't. We don't have a good enough squad for that. We have too many mistakes in the team. Kilman is too weak physically to play as a central centre back. Again, is too awful in wide areas and just in general takes too long with the ball, overplays, can't even pass sideways. Tadiba does too much running. So Potter usually takes him off for Mavropanos, which makes us very weak. Wan-Bissaka is actually good going forward, but he's not a wing back. Diouf, we're going to rely on him too heavily. There is no progression in midfield here. Paquetá, you're getting an odd performance from him. Like, he's very important to the team still, but you're never going to get consistent Paquetá. Nicholas Fulkirk is mobile, but what he doesn't do enough is when he does drop deep, he needs to make the late runs into the box quicker. But we're relying on too much on Jared Bowen as well. West Ham are full of mistakes. Unfortunately. And that's why the system is never going to work. Because that's what West Ham are usually like on their day. Now, I hope to see different in the season. I hope I'm proven wrong. And I hope that Potter tends to go a bit more attacking and allows West Ham to pass the ball a bit quicker, as he has his own pre-season now, so there's no excuses. So I want to see things different. If not, then the writing's on the wall very quickly. But that is me. Make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. Social medias are in the description if you want to follow me and the email for the inquiries. And I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.